Hello everybody, this is Valencia and welcome to my channel Balloons and Business, where I show you the business of balloon and event decor. So today I'm going to show you how I made this Winnie the Pooh inspired backdrop setting. I use my Chiara Walls as well as my boxwood backdrop. So if you want to see how I made this, just stay tuned. So the balloons that I used were 5-inch and 12-inch matte pastel yellow balloons from Simpertex, 5-inch, 12-inch, and a 17-inch baby blue balloon from Tuftex, and 5-inch, 12-inch, and a 19-inch red balloon from Gmar. So I'm going to be twisting my dupes, and the dupe is 2 balloons tied together. I'm going to be twisting my dupes into a little cluster, and this is going to be for the cluster of balloons that you saw Winnie the Pooh holding. So I twisted about 3 dupes of each color in this, and I did it sporadically so that you can see the colors throughout. Now when twisting, you want to twist around a couple of times to make sure that those dupes are really secure in there. Now that I've twisted them together, I'm just playing around with it so it can be nice and rounded. So now I'm going to be making the base of my balloon garland. I'm going to be taking 1 dupe and tying a 260 balloon around it. And then I'm going to take another dupe and put it on top facing the opposite direction. Then I'm going to wrap that 260 around the top dupe and under the bottom dupe. And I'm going to do that twice. Then I'm going to take another dupe and put that on top in the opposite direction. And then do the same thing. Wrap it around the top and under the bottom in like a figure 8 type of motion. And I'm just going to do that, alternating the directions of the dupes and putting that 260 around the top and under the bottom. Now when I've run out of 260, I'm going to tie the 260 into itself. Then I'm going to get a new 260 and tie it to the very last dupe I was working on. And then I'm going to do the process all over. I'm going to take another dupe, put it on top in the opposite direction, and wrap it around the top and under the bottom. Now, as I'm doing the balloon garland, I am only going to wrap it around 1 time. When I first started, for the first few dupes, I wrapped it around twice to make sure that the garland was nice and secure. Also, normally, I don't make my balloon garlands this way. I usually will twist my balloon garlands into small clusters, and then I will tie them together at the necks. I don't like using 260s to attach them because I don't believe they're as sturdy, and it's just using unnecessary material. So this Chiara wall is about 6 feet tall, and I painted it white. And then I put some Winnie the Pooh decals, which you can get off of Amazon on here. And I'm positioning the Winnie the Pooh to make it look like it's being carried away by the balloons. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that later on. So to attach the balloons to that Chiara wall, I'm going to take a 260 and I'm going to wrap it into a backdrop clamp, and I'm going to tie it twice. Then I'm going to clamp it onto the wall. So I'm going to take 1/2 of that 260, wrap it over the cluster, and the other half and wrap it under, and then I'm going to tie those 260s into themselves in the cluster. So here is the base of my balloon garland, and I'm going to be attaching it with the 260 balloon. I'm going to be tying it just like I did inside of that clamp, leaving 2 ends out. So I'm going to take 1/2 of that 260. I'm going to stick it through the boxwood backdrop. There's a grid in the back. And then I'm going to stick it back into that same grid. And then I'm going to tie that 260 with the other half of the 260 balloon. And that's how I attach my balloon garland to my boxwood backdrop. So I'm going to be attaching small clusters of balloons using the neck of one of the balloons in the small cluster and the neck of the balloon in the balloon garland. So I'm going to be attaching them the way I normally do, which is tying the necks of the balloons together. I'm also sporadically adding some of those bigger balloons in there. I only use about 3 of them for this balloon garland. Most of this balloon garland is made out of 12-inch balloons and 5-inch balloons. So I'm going to be attaching my 5-inch balloons with some 260s. I made clusters of the 5-inch balloons and I tied them together with a 260 balloon with a cluster on each side. And I just wrapped it around balloons in the balloon garland, filling in gaps and adding in color, certain colors where I see that there's not enough of. For example, it doesn't look like there's enough red at the top, so I'm adding in those red clusters to even out the coloring throughout the garland. Now I'm adding the 5-inch decorators into that small cluster on the Chiara wall. Now, to make it look like Winnie the Pooh is holding on to these balloons, I created a little bow, and then I tied a few strips of ribbon around that bow to make it look like, he's holding the balloons. And I attached that bow to the Winnie the Pooh decal with some duct tape. And as you see, I'm trying to, arrange that cluster so, it looks the way I want it to look. So here's the finished product to my Winnie the Pooh inspired Chiara Wall boxwood backdrop setting. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead on and like it, and please subscribe and feel free to comment. And if you subscribe, you'll get notifications on future videos on balloon and event decor. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.